welcome to ISE Show TV. My name is Paul Milligan. Thank you for joining us for the latest of our panel discussions at ISE 2020. Today's one is entitled, it's got the rather controversial title, Will LED kill off LCD? Joining me today, next to me is Martijn van der Woude from Philips Professional Display Solutions, and we've also got Morono from Valley. So two sides of the fence, if you will. So controversial title, I guess. I mean, got to start with you. As the rise of, as the fall in price of LED and obviously the rise in quality, does that mean it's not out of reach for many clients like it used to be? It used to be, you know, the small pixel bit used to be gargantuanly expensive.
I think that's a good question. I think that's the question of the moment, really, as to that transition point between cost effectiveness and solution deployment. From our standpoint, we see a multitude of different types of clients that can actually that want that experience delivered to them from LED over LCD. What we're finding as price diminishes in the marketplace, the demand for LED is certainly increasing, and a lot of our customers are actually now considering LED over LCD. That's not to say that LCD is dead, not by a long shot. I think there will always be a niche, much like LCD didn't kill projection. It's just made the market become, or the actual manufacturers become much more creative, much more inventive in terms of the technology and the applicational usage of that. LED will do the same, I think. And as cost continues to plummet, which inevitably it will, it's always going to, that's technology in a nutshell, really. Then you are going to find customers are going to adapt more towards an LED model, and there'll be those kind of customers that like the look and feel of LCD, and there's just a particular attraction to the LCD environment, the same as those that will instantly want to migrate. The early adopters will go towards LED, for sure.
Martin, are we seeing a straight swap between what was LCD and LCD, or is it more kind of complicated than that?
Yeah, what we did actually, we make our lineup from small touch displays 10-inch to 98-inch. And then basically you are at a form factor where you say, okay, how do we get a screen in an elevator to install it in a corporate room? So we go above the 98-inch to 110-inch LED. So we're not killing off LCD by our LED line, but we see it as an extension, actually. So that is in the physical size, but also in picture performance, in retail. I think there are many use cases nowadays for LED because of brightness performance. The flexibility you have with the form factor, you can make basically any shape that you want. So we see that they can coexistently live. And actually, we must admit that the LCD numbers are not that steep growing as the LED, but definitely they can live together.
But if you've got the two in your portfolio, does the rise in one take up for the fall in the other? Does that kind of balance out?
That could be a strategic decision to make the lineup, but we introduced on this ISE a few new product lines in complete new verticals. So for us, LCD is as bright and it has a bright future as ever. And LED, we just pick up. We're not the first one in the market, but we pick the battles. Not with LCD, but what I say, different applications that we cannot offer with LCD technology.
Carlos, are you having more discussions with clients where LED is coming into the mix, where 5 years ago it would have been a straight LCD?
Well, it's fair to say, given Valley's heritage in LED, 30 years strong heritage in deploying LED solutions, we're always talking LED to one extent or another. However, you're absolutely correct, and I think what Philips have done actually captures the zeitgeist in terms of the opinion within the marketplace, that they're not necessarily looking for the cheapest, it's about the quality of the product. And what Philips do actually pretty well is they're never going to be the first in the marketplace, but they're going to come with a quality proposition. And that's the same with Valley. We're looking at clients that are now looking at LED as a quality proposition moving forward, rather than just, is it cheap enough for us to consider? Yes, that helps. Clearly the economies has to be there for a project to come to life. But invariably, it's very much a desire that we're seeing for people to have that completely frameless, bezel-less. And in the worlds that we operate in, which are the big spectaculars, the digital spectacular world, so the arenas and staging, that sort of thing. And Valley are strong in there, and the conversation is around flexibility and adaptability, and the LED presents that as an option, whereas LCD is very limited because of the frame form factors.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on a very important point earlier on. I think we had a discussion maybe even last year on a panel about projection, that LED was really creeping into projection markets, things like award shows and things like that. And actually the projection guys are saying, well, actually it's becoming more of a sort of slightly niche technology in terms of, like, you can't do anything, projection mapping can only be done with the projectors, or round corners or interesting shapes and stuff. Projection works really well at that. Do you think maybe that could be where LCD becomes, interactivity and stuff? It works far better on an LCD than anything else, isn't it? Interactivity. Do you think it could become maybe a specialist display technology?
Exactly. I think when the market matures, and we all know that visualization is becoming more and more mainstream, we need more and more visualization technologies actually, and I think we will all find the niches for these technologies where we say, okay, for this it's better to use an LCD, for that application it's better to use projection. And the third category is LED, and now we're talking now slowly about micro LED. That will bring us also new applications of technologies, new verticals where we can apply this technology in. So I think this will never end.
I mean, do you, in terms of installation times, Carlos, I mean, is LED as quick now to install as like an LCD? Say if it's like a video wall, perhaps. Is it as quick, or is there still a time difference? And is that install time closing the gap? Maybe is that gap closing?
I think manufacturers are getting much more sophisticated in the design of their cabinets, for sure. Certain options are being presented to make installation that much easier. And take a corporate environment, for example, which is the mainstay of the LEDs that are filtering into the marketplace these days. Corporates have the money to deploy, so clearly that's where obviously the opportunities are going to come from. You see most corporate boardrooms now consider an LED or deploy an LED over LCD simply because it just is an appealing form factor for one. But the installation time and the ability to install that has become very simplified. You've got, say, there are other manufacturers in the marketplace which have a similar colour. I won't say their names, but it would be rude to, given present company.
Don't know what you mean.
Absolutely. Who they offer a model where you don't have to be experienced in deploying LED. You can go to them with a project opportunity. They will specify it. They will have the conversation with the client. They will provide you the hardware. They'll even finance providing you the hardware. They will deploy it and they will support it for you. You don't need to get involved in any kind of way, shape or form. So on that side of the marketplace, it is intrinsically simple. What in our end of the spectrum, it's much more complicated. But however, to answer your question more fully, definitely the times are becoming more condensed. LCD over LED or LDD over LCD. There's very little to speak of now in terms of deployment times.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's still, LED's a more complex proposition naturally, but it's part and parcel of that whole discussion. If you want a more creative solution, if you want those digital spectaculars, and you want wow factor from what you're putting in, then the LED is going to give you that versatility over LCD potentially. But with that comes its own inherent complication to try and achieve that. But again, it's like anything. You deploy a video wall of dozens of displays. You're going to have a lot of time deploying that, and it's no different to LED.
So as well as taking less time, do you think you need less specialist skills to do an LED wall than maybe you did 10 years ago? Was there only a few people that could have done it, and now it's kind of opened up the market a bit? Are you kind of saying that?
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly at the lower end of the spectrum with for example, you can buy from most manufacturers now 110, 120, 130 inch LED. Almost a television product, comes with its own driver built in, power supply, that sort of thing. So it's there ready to be taken by anybody as a SKU from a distributor or a vendor.
And from manufacturing perspective, we serve system installers by putting everything in the box. So if you bought 5 years ago LED, basically you had to find all your parts. Now you see that the system installers are served with brackets. There are bracket manufacturers that turn from LCD to LED. So we make a full service package. We do a lot of training to the channel that we have to make people confident. And then you see basically the first installations. They call us up and they say it went very, very smooth.
I mean, just like we talked about projection mapping and be able to go around corners and stuff would maybe save the projection industry in the long term, because only that could do it. Do you think maybe the meeting room space could maybe be where LCD is saved, if you want to use that sort of dramatic language? Because I can't really see any other technology that would work as well in that as a 50, 60 inch kind of touch screen, really.
Yeah, I think the touch displays, they offer more and more connectivity, collaboration tools. So that is what we launched actually on this ISE, the full range of this high-end touch displays, PCAP. So basically a bezel-less display. But of course we show on our booth actually in verticals how to apply these displays.
Yes.
And what we do there is that we show you can combine even LED with LCD.
Okay.
So if you have a large presentation, you do that on an LED display.
Sure.
And we can connect it to the touch, where you can interact with the LED. So we'll have more different setups. Clients become more demanding. Designing of products, for instance, becomes more and more virtual. So you want to show real life size cars, for instance. So these meeting rooms and these corporate rooms, these collaboration rooms, get more and more advanced. More technology gets in.
I mean, one of the constant themes this week has been AV over IP, or anything over IP, I guess. And as kind of LCD displays get more intelligent, you're building in, they've got computers in the back now, the tiny ones, so I guess you're the same, you're just building a lot more intelligence into your screens than you were 5 years, 10 years ago.
Absolutely, yeah. That is a very demanding market. There are concerns with security, so we are also looking, for instance, into building more security into these displays. We also will bring that, by the way, in LED. So our ecosystem for LCD will be the same as LED. So monitoring, we have our command platform that will be deployed between LCD and LED. So we make one ecosystem actually.
And this is what I was referring to earlier on, Paul, with regards to LCD manufacturers needing to become more creative and more aware of where the marketplace is going. Now, they're not stupid people, they've done this for many, many years.
Are you banging down their door though? Are you kind of saying, look,
resellers are,
because in my experience they respond to, companies of your nature and so forth.
A good vendor will always listen to their channel. They'll always take on board the desires and the requirements and the pains that their channel are going through. So Philips are no different to anybody else in that respect. They've learnt their craft, or to apply the craft the way that they've done it through many years of experience. And we're going back and saying, look, we need this kind of interactivity, or we need this kind of connectivity. And like we're saying here, really, it's very much a case of the displays themselves have to become more intelligent, no longer a dumb display. The intelligence behind it, the functionality behind it, the interactivity behind it. Interactivity is a part of life. Everybody's got a smartphone. If they don't have a smartphone, I'm not sure what's happening. But there's some life choices have gone wrong there. But the reality is everybody's used to that technology. There's an expectation to deliver that. And in a meeting room environment, like you mentioned earlier, LED's not really suitable for small meeting space. Taken to that now, the question of the unified communications argument. So you see within a general large entity, so any kind of large business, gone are the days of big VC meeting rooms. You're now looking at multiple small-scale deployments in huddle spaces, in small meeting rooms, medium-sized meeting rooms, and LCD is perfect for that. And this is where that level of connectivity will eventually, and communication will be built into a display. So rather than have an additional box, the display will come Zoom-enabled or WebEx or whatever it might be that your platform happens to be. But LED still has a long way to go to catch up with that, because it is essentially a dumb display. What it does well is it does it in big formats over LCD. It does it without bezels. Yes, you can get bezel-less LCDs, but they are price. They're more or less the same as LED. So, but there are more limiting factors. So ultimately, there's always an argument on both sides of the table there, for sure.
Fantastic. Martin, Carlos, many thanks for your time. Appreciate it. That's all for this panel. So it sounds like the days of LCD aren't quite as numbered as we think. Many thanks for joining us this panel. There's plenty more on our video channels to check out from ISE 2020. But once again, thank you for joining us for this one. Bye-bye.